let's start a tax return. So I'm going to start a new return. And right when you click start the return, it asks for the social security numbers. Social security numbers do require double entry. So in order to confirm that this is the right one, you hit double enter those social and start the return. So now, based on that social I entered, some of you guys may see this information, some of you don't. But if you using the same system next year, you should see this information for repeat clients. So right here, I'm using, this is my dependents information. So if I want to uncheck these and I'm not carrying these dependents this year, I can uncheck them. If I've no longer worked at Walmart for last year, I can uncheck that. Right here, if I no longer had my self-employment job last year, I can uncheck that. I'm going to leave everything as is. There's my 1099 NEC for my tech job. And then here's my 2441 for my daycare for my dependents. So I'm going to leave all of the documents on here. And I'm going to just click yes. And then I was going to import that data over. So right here, my filing status is the same as last year. And then I can go through and enter anything that I may need to enter that may have changed. Most of the time, you just ask those clients if anything's changed, like their addresses. That's very important to talk about. Address, phone number, email information, all of that can be changed now. If it's the same, go ahead and click continue. Now the chance to add additional dependents. So right now I have two. If I would like to review the dependent information, it says please review the dependent information. Also, if you have additional, you can add them to the return. So I'm going to click yes to review them. It's going to be those two. I don't have any others. I'm going to click continue, and I'm done with the dependents based on dependents I used on my last year return. Now, I'm in the income portion. So I do say I have a W-2, 1099 NEC, and a Schedule C, as well as a child care credit form. Now, let's just say this was a new return. You entered all that information, and now it came time for documents. I like to talk about this option here, Quick File. Clicking into Quick File allows me to select additional forms. So right now it's just asking me, do you have additional forms to add? I'm gonna click yes. So right here, I can search those additional forms. So I'm gonna click type W2. If I had it, if this W2 wasn't here, I can add it. What's another? Let's see, 80, 1099, no, 1098. So if this year they went to school and I wanted to add a 1098T form, I could add that form. And then let's see, let's just say that's it. I just added that one additional document, click continue. And now it's going to go into the W2 forms. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and edit this W2 because I did work there again. Or if I had another W2, I can add that as well by clicking add wage statement. I'm going to click edit to edit the first one. If you guys could put your mics on mute, please. Now, I'm going to add this W2, and I'm just enter the information that I have on my W2 here, and I'm just using pre-filled information that I've used for. Now, I'm adding the wages, the Social Security wages, and Medicare wages automatically populate based off of line one. But if line 3 and 5 are different from line 1, you can make that change manually here. I'm just going to leave it as is. Oh, no. Two. What is it? There we go. 3, 2, 1. There we go. So now, if I had any Social Security tips, allocated tips, dependent care benefits, we would like to enter all of the information on a W-2 that's there. But if there's no other information, I can just scroll right on through and go to the next. So for you guys that have state tax returns, this is where that state information on that W-2 will need to be entered. I'm going to click continue. And then I'm going to go on to the next step. So now my next step is my Schedule C income. But before I go into that, I want to go to the 1099 NEC. Let's go back. And then if I had any income from that 1099 NEC, it should be carried over. So I'm going to go ahead and click into it, leave quick file. And now I want to add that income for that 1099 NEC. And it'll just go here on line 1. So I'm going to just put, let's see, we made additional $15,000 last year in self-employment. Now, right here, by linking this to Schedule C for business income, this is now going to allow me to write off my expenses for my business. So I'm going to go ahead and link it. Click continue. If any of this information needs to be changed, it can be. But right here, it's going to be all of my information. So let's go back. What did I miss? On the 1099. Income. Okay, income recorded is entered on the Schedule C. So if I want to skip this, it should already be linked to the previous one. No, it's going to make me create a new one. So that's fine. Typically, it should ask you, and it should link to the Schedule C that it sees already sees here. So I'm going to just go ahead and select the business code. Select the technical services. Now, right here, if I had a different business name, so Tech Firm LLC, let's just put that. And then if I had a EIN for that Tech Firm, I'll go ahead and enter that as well. If I had a business address, I can enter that here. All right, continue. So now my income, if I had any other income to add other than from the NEC, if I had any cash, 1099K or any of that, I could add that here. I'm gonna just say that's all I made this year. And then I can go into expenses. So expenses, I can add that expense. I'm not going to use true numbers. I'm just throwing numbers out there that could be right. You guys know, if you guys have done taxes before, are familiar with how to add those expenses, um, you know that you can add those in that way. Other expenses that I may not have those general documents, general line items for, like cell phone, $100 a month. Hmm, what else? I don't know. What's a reasonable expense? I'm just drawing a blank right now. I'm just gonna put other and put say 4,200. All right, so I have those two expenses there. If I wanted to go into depreciation, add depreciation, I could. Expense, business expense used for home. If I want to do the simplified method, I could do here. Let's see. I'm not going to go too detailed in here, but go ahead and continue. Now, let's make sure I take this other one off. I've added my expenses for those. All right, so now all of my income stuff is taken care of. And now I want to go into, let's say, child care credit. So this is where my credit is from my daycare. So I'm going to enter the amount. All of this information has been entered into the amount on the next page. And then that'll be how much I paid in daycare for these two pendants. So for this one, I may have paid 1,800. The other one, 3,250. Continue. Now, what did I miss? That's it. So now, if you had any other income, any other monies paid, and it was on the 1040, you could add that to 1040 will allow you. So did you receive dependent care benefits? I'm sorry, on the W-2. Um, from your W-2 that are not reported, from your employer that are not reported on your W-2, I'm gonna click no. Then the next one, I'm gonna ask if I was disabled or a full-time student. Next one, did I pay any 2020 expenses in 2022 and 2023? Click no. And there's my tax credit right here, 623. Now that that's done, I can go over here to my earned income credit questionnaires. So, okay, only complete if your earned income credit was disallowed. So no, it was not disallowed. Check here. Let's go into our next step. So now, from here that I've added all of my income, oh, I wanted to add a 1098. So I wanted to say she was in school. Tuition statement. And it's going to be this one. Do I have the 1098? Did you receive it from last year? Let's say this is our first year. College name. All right. So if you paid any expenses for higher education, corresponding amount should be available. So tuition paid, grants paid, other qualified. So um, whatever matter paid for tuition, you got to put how much you may have received in grants. Then you got to put how much you uh, pay out of pocket. Has this been claimed for the prior 4 years? Was the student enrolled for at least half the time? Did the student complete the 4-year degree? Did the student have a felony? All right, that's that. Um, so now I can go into the next step. So everything is pretty much done. All of my documents are done. I'm just clicking through over to the left. Right now I'm in payments. I can go to miscellaneous forms. But if I want to just skip all of that, I can go straight into health information, health insurance. Did you or your spouse have Affordable Care Act insurance? No. Then now it will be in the state section. So once the states are released, those will be visible here. And now I'm looking at the 1040. Just basically saying, looking at everything, make sure everything's done correctly. I can go on to the next step. So now it should be asking me my due diligence questionnaire checklist. So was this taxpayer spouse a non-resident alien part of the year? Is this taxpayer a qualifying child of another? Did you complete? Did you interview? Did you review? Did anything sound inconsistent? Did you satisfy record retention for these credits? I'm just going to list documents. And you just add those documents that you retrieve from that client. Did you ask? Did you ask for any? Did you ask? Is this child? Have you determined? Did you explain? Did you explain? This is child. Did you explain? Taxpayer. Have you determined? Did you certify? All right. So just because I ran through those questions like that, I would expect everyone to read them. I've read these same questions over and over and over, probably for the last 15 years. So some of them are new, some of them have been changed, but I would always ask that you ask these questions. Ensure that you answer these questions based off the answers provided to you by the client. So if you ask these questions, you should at least understand. You should also explain certain things about these credits that they're going to be receiving. Again, this is strictly how to use the software, not tax training. So based on your tax training, you should know the right things and right things that should take place when doing a tax return. All right. So due diligence, all credits claimed, documents relied on, due diligence EIC, EIC due diligence notes. So due diligence notes basically come in and provide the statements as a quick part. Excuse me, let's rewind. Provide the statements that the client provided to you and you ask specific questions. So, why are you carrying the kids? Carrying the kids because I provide more than 50%. Why are you eligible for this credit? I provide more than 50% of help or for the household. That should be a head of household question. Why are you carrying the dependents? If the father's not present, state that. If you're not married, state that. All of that can be added here. Why are you filing as far as dependent credit? You can add that in here too. Dependents went to daycare while I worked full time and went to school. I went to school full time, studied this. I provided head of household document that provided that I have a bill in my name or whatever. All of that due diligence notes can be added here. So I'm just going to type notes. That's what I add there, I should say. Just to kind of, the more the IRS knows, the better. The more they know, the less they ask in the future. If you had any additional statements, you can add that here. And now we should be done to e-file. So now under e-file, this is where we're going to ask how they would like to receive their return. So that question is going to be here. Would you like e-file? Yes. 9 times out of 10, yes. But if they want direct deposit or a paper check, just know if you select e-file, paper check, e-file, direct deposit, that's e-file and they receive their money straight from the IRS and you won't get paid. Now, what most of you should see differently here, it's going to say e-file, or SPTPG, that's Santa Barbara Tax Products Group, or Refund Advantage, check, direct deposit, or Refund Advantage, or Santa Barbara, check with an advance, or direct deposit with an advance. All of those will be answered here. But if you select any of these that strictly say e-file or paper file, just know you will get an ask at the end. I'll show you that. It'll give you a hard stop and say, hey, make sure you take your payment up front for your client. So now that I've completed this return based on the forms that I used to do this return, you guys should see a dollar amount here. So that's my preparer fee based on using a 1040, a Schedule C, EIC, or the Earned Income Credit form, daycare form, authorization to e-file, and school credit document. Then this last one is an electronic filing fee. So all of those fees plus electronic filing fee generated a total of $835. And click continue. And right here, don't forget to collect your fees because this is not a bank product tax return. Right here, if the client is in the office, they can use their mouse to sign or a signature pad. If not, if they use the Taxes to Go app, you can send them the documents to sign via Taxes to Go. They didn't do that. You can always create a customer portal. Customer portal will allow you to text them the link and say, hey, create your portal, create your login information for this portal. And then the next step would be send the document to that portal so that they could sign. Once they sign, that signature should come back into into the software here.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Once you send the documents to them, could they just what's the possibility that they refuse to sign it and decide to keep the document and send it in?
If they keep the document and send it in, and you've already put this bank product information on here,
Mm-hmm.
that that 1040 is going to show bank product information.
Okay.
That's on them. Not talking about 10 though. I think that it may show all the way. Sometimes it shows like the full direct deposit information on the 1040. Sometimes it's X'd out and show like the last 5 or 6. But
Yeah, I'm just
whenever
worried
they go
about them
in,
stopping at this point,
yeah, at this point when you send a document, I don't think you can actually download the documents
for printing.
Yeah. I'm
Okay.
not on. I think you can do it after the fact, but if you click into the documents in the portal, it takes you directly to signature requests. I think they sign like one time, like I think they've signed like once or twice, and it signs every page in this throughout the entire return.
Okay.
So you should be fine.
I have a question too.
Sure.
So when you send that to them, are they capable of viewing how you set up the whole thing? Or it's just going to allow them just to sign and that's
They
all?
can review their documents,
They can review their
and then
documents.
they can
Okay.
review them and see everything that you did, and then sign.
And the money and the fees that you charge, they'll be
All
capable
of it.
of seeing that.
They'll
Okay.
be capable of seeing that. But one thing I always advise is before I even send the documents, I've already talked to the client and said, hey, this is how much you're getting back.
Okay.
This is how much I'm charging you. Would you like to proceed? If they say yes, then I send the documents for signature. I never send documents without, like, especially if it's a remote client, I never send anything without calling them and we're going over the return, which is, you know, my best practice in my opinion.
So I have one more question. So once you send the portal to them, when they send it back, are you willing to like still make changes or not? Or once they sign, you cannot make changes on your end?
Make changes like what?
Like for example, sometimes we might put like the wrong information and then you just want to correct it.
Yeah,
Like you
if
did
you
it
put
right.
the wrong, if they review the return and let's just say you spell my daughter's name wrong or you put the wrong social or whatever, I
Mhm.
would all if they 9 times out of 10, they're gonna call you and tell you that before they sign it anyway, because they don't want to sign anything that's incorrect. Then you just go back, make the changes, then resend the documents.
Okay.
So for those of you that do have questions too, feel free.